Hey everybody, welcome back to A Brief on Grief. So today I wanted to talk about two concepts that are I'm being reminded of in my life recently. Whether it's to do with like losses that are happening for me or losses that are happening for some people that I care about in my life. And I just realized like these two main things really have an impact on how much we are aware of that we're going through a loss and aware that we may be feeling grief, and also the openness to like allow those feelings to be with us and without judgment. So the first one is, and this is just, it's come to me so profoundly in the last couple days, is the reminder that there's no big losses or small losses. All losses are losses. And that the book that I refer to a lot in this, that the grief recovery method book, that purple one that I've showed before, I'm taking these ideas from that book, and it reminds us often in that book that every loss is felt 100%. So there's no losses in our lives that necessarily feel less painful or more painful. There's no set rules on that. So there's no set labels of big versus small. So what I mean by that is a lot of us and in our culture and stuff, when we talk about loss and grief, people think of death and divorce. And even in the language that I've used before and the language that I've heard other people use, they call those big losses, right? And if anybody were to think or be asked, okay, well, what's a smaller loss? Somebody might think, I don't know, like losing your phone, or I don't know, even like moving to a different house or something as a smaller loss. There's no small and big. Everything is felt 100%. And every person is unique in the feelings that they feel. So just to remind you that loss is the end of or any change in a pattern of familiar behavior, right? So that whether that's something that you're, oh, that's, I won't blend it into that. That's the other idea, but you say yourself and somebody else are having the same type of loss. Say you both lost your job, but the way you grieve and the way this other person grieves is going to be completely different, right? And also, like, say you lost your job and compare it with another person you know that, say, lost their mother who died. You would think naturally, a lot of us would, that, oh, her loss is bigger than your loss. So her loss of her parent is bigger than your loss of your job. No, because when we think of that, when we compare losses like that, what it does is it invalidates the pain that we feel. We think, oh, well, this loss is small. Look at everybody else and the different pain that other people experience, and different grief that other people experience. Maybe you're thinking that you'd like to share your pain with a friend, but maybe that friend has just lost their mother or is going through a divorce. And you think, wow, like, almost like you don't have the right to be feeling all the emotions you feel because it's not as bad as what the other person is going through, right? That's a very common way for us to devalue the feelings that we feel, and for us to isolate and not share what we feel. And that kind of blends into one of those myths that don't burden people with your pain too much, right? So you're thinking, oh, I have a friend that's going through a rough time. You're kind of thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't share my pain with that friend because they're already in enough pain, right? But again, like that just isolates you. And a lot of the time, people that are going through pain take comfort in realizing that they're not alone and other people are going through pain too, even if it's not the same, right? And if this person loves you and you love this person, then naturally you guys are going to want to support each other. So that's one of the concepts that really does limit our awareness of our grief and really honoring what we're feeling. The other one is really crucial too, and this just came to me this morning when I woke up, in that there's loss in any change, right? Any end of something or any change of something. And there's grief in every loss, right? But that grief is not reserved for losses that are just unexpected. So say the death of somebody that you love, or you getting sick and losing your health, or being in an accident, or somebody ending a relationship on their terms. You weren't really voluntarily wanting to do it. So of course, those seem like they would be the most painful situations and would create the most grief. But what's really crucial is that there's also grief in the voluntary choices that we make that can create a loss. So say we decide to move and change cities. That's a loss, even though we're choosing to, and we're really excited about the new place we're moving and a bunch of the new things that we're doing. Or we decide to switch jobs, right? Because we weren't happy at the other one, or whatever was going on, and we choose to move on to another place. Even though it's a voluntary choice, a voluntary change for us, it's still a loss, and there's still grief in that. And that is another barrier for us to be aware of our emotions and to validate and give them space. Because again, we sit back and we think, well, it was my choice to leave, or it was my choice to end this relationship, or my choice to move. I shouldn't feel upset, right? So again, the judgments. And another thing too, you're thinking, oh, well, I'm so excited, and you're seeing all these other possibilities. When you close that door and open another door, which is totally valid, and it's not untrue to think that. It's great to close certain doors to give space for other things, but there's still grief in the closing of one door. And so if you're feeling feelings that are kind of confusing for you, and you're thinking, wow, I'm really excited to start this new adventure, but there's still some uneasiness, and what is this, right? So there's grief. So to be aware that there's grief involved in that, even when it's a voluntary choice. So those two things were very blatant in my head and my heart the last week or so. So that's, again, because grieving, life in general, is about feeling it all, right? Without judgment, and just allowing what you're feeling, and then sitting back and saying, okay, what is this, right? Or what's going on? Why am I feeling it? Or to just allow it, and then it kind of moves through you, right? But when you face those feelings with resistance, why am I feeling this? Oh, I shouldn't be feeling this. Oh, well, this is just a little loss. This is nothing compared to what other people are dealing with, right? Or why am I sad? Or why am I scared? I'm going to something really exciting and I left this behind. But still, there's grief involved in all of that. So to just be aware of that is huge, right? And it's huge to just allow what is coming in and realize that with every loss, every change, there is grief. And that's that. Okay, until next time. Bye, everybody.